What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Email us PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. Text us 865-658-5824. Join alongside Jacob up in Wisconsin on the Minnesota border. We got Tim live in Green Bay, and we got Emilio in Tennessee. Jacob, you got a tornado touching down out there, bro. Is that what's happening?
It's getting pretty nasty. Yeah. If anybody's around the Hudson area, it's dark and it just crept up on me kind of quickly. So now, if you see me just cut out, that's why.
There you go. Like I told Jacob, listen, if Jordan Love can show up to OTAs with no new contract, your butt better be in here when the tornadoes hit. You know what I'm saying? Got to have that commitment. But Emilio, how was your day, man?
Good, man. Got a pallet of sod down. Job's done, so I'm happy.
A little bit of heat today, right?
Oh, yeah. Luckily I was in the shade, but, man, they're going to have to keep it watered, that's for sure.
I hear that. Tim, what about you, man? What'd you have going on today, dude?
Doing well, man. You know, living the dream. You know, what can I say?
There you go.
It was like really hot, and then it cooled off. So, and apparently severe weather coming my way. If it's out by Jacob right now, it's going to be near me in a few hours, probably. So,
on its way, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Speaking of on its way, hopefully you guys have got your Packers tickets on their way, and if you haven't, hop over to Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access, Wisconsin-based since 1992, specializing in Packers tickets. They are Wisconsin's largest ticket source with offices next to Lambeau Field and in Milwaukee. You can click on the link in the video description that'll send you to theticketking.com, where you can register for free as a customer and go ahead and start shopping around for some Packers tickets. It'll save you time and money on your tickets this year. Make sure you check with Ticket King before going to some of the other big name companies. Okay. Again, that is Ticket King. You can check them out at theticketking.com, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access. We appreciate them sponsoring the show. So obviously we had OTAs going on today. It was kind of cool to see the guys out there running around just a bit. And I know Matt met with the media. We had a little clip that I watched earlier of Brian Gutekunst. I think he was with one of the local radio stations. I can't remember which one. We don't have the clip to play, but he was asked about the Jordan Love contract. And I love how he put emphasis on that, the fact that both sides want to get this done. And, you know, sometimes there's a little bit of coach speak. There's a little bit of that goes on. But with this case and the fact that Jordan Love is in there for OTAs, the voluntary stuff, like he's not going to the best of my knowledge, he's not going to miss out on any money for not being there. Right. But here he is showing up anyway. So I see Jacob and Emilio keeping it professional here. So I think there is some merit to that, or at least some truth to that both sides really want to get this done. I think Jordan wants to be a Packer for a very, very long time. So did you guys see that clip? And what'd you take away from it? How you guys feeling about it? What are we thinking as far as the Jordan Love contract getting done before we get into the OTA news?
I did not see the clip, but I would say if we spent all this money on X and Jacobs and everybody else, there's no way we brought in a first-round left tackle. There's no way Jordan Love's not getting paid. It doesn't really matter about the wide receiver market. I guess it just matters on, what we think and what Goody thinks. We're going to be anywhere from 45 to 55, hopefully. And anywhere from 4 to 10.
Yeah.
And that's about as narrow as I could get it right now. I could still be wrong.
Yeah, we'll find out soon enough. Tim, what do you think? You got an expiration date here, a deadline, if you will, that you hope the deal gets done, man?
I mean, any day now. I think it's coming any day now, honestly. It's going to get done before training camp. That's my opinion. I don't think there's any doubt. It's just specifics right now. I think ironing out the details. Clearly, Jordan's not concerned about this. Clearly, the Packers aren't overly concerned. Everybody, we had 100% attendance as far as OTAs go. So it's nice to see that. It's refreshing in this modern NFL that we don't have any holdouts. We don't have anyone, I don't know, with a bad attitude this time of year. So I think Jordan knows he's going to get the bag. I think the Packers know they're going to give it to him. And I think we just have to figure out, the dollars and cents and, avoidable years and all of that crap. So just details right now. But I'm thinking any day now, hopefully the sooner the better, because it ain't going to get cheaper for the Packers the longer they wait. So, hopefully before training camp for sure.
Yeah, Mountain Man Pack said 93.7 The Game was the radio station. And again, we've seen it come across the old Twitter wire. And then it seems like, where's it at? M. Smitty says, saw Ben Kurt was thinking 4 years, $212 million. So that wouldn't surprise me one bit. The big number, the important number, Jake, was going to be that guaranteed money, right? And I know we pulled a few comparative contracts here that we can kind of comp to it. But what are you thinking, man? You got a deadline. Is there a date in which you go, oh no, if the deal isn't done?
Not necessarily a date, but like Tim said, I would expect and hope that it happens before we really start getting into the main part of the training camps and all that kind of stuff. For no other reason than if we wait, the number's just going to keep going up. I mean, we talk about what Goff got. I think Tua still needs to get paid, or a few other those kind of mid-range quarterbacks that I think that loves to steal, even if we get them around the 53, 54, even at 55, because next year it's just going to go up. It's going to go up. It's going to go up. I think that right now he is the quarterback of the future. Like you said with Bankert, thinking 4 years, 212, I'd be cool with that. I think Jordan wants to get it done too. Like Ron talked about how he's happy that everybody's at OTAs, but he also talked about how, do you guys notice there's almost no more ums and uhs and all that kind of awkward kind of aw shucks, kind of like Matt LaFleur in his first couple of years when we said Matt LaFleur looks like a kindergartner. He needs to put on the big boy boots. Jordan kind of had that same type of mentality. Now I feel like he's definitely more confident. He's in control of this team now. He's the captain now. And I just want to get the deal done so we don't have that as a distraction, because there's no, like, I feel like that's the biggest glaring red flag right now when the whole rest of the team is thinking about football and championships. And so,
yeah. No, I completely agree. We got those comps here too. First of all, we had the market value that we had pulled before for Jordan Love. And according to Spot Track, we can drop that comment down. I get you right here. 4 years, $191 million is what they were saying. Average salary of 47.8. Now, again, everything's laid out there. The comps: Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts. They compared Jordan Love's progress report, if you will, and how it would kind of balance out there on the sheet. And it doesn't mean that he won't get the money that Ben Kurt's talking about. It's just simply showing, this has got to be the Packers' standing point here. Is like, hey, look, here's what the comps show you're worth. Okay, that's great and all, but we know what quarterbacks are going for, right? So maybe to be right in the middle. He's talking about 4 years, $216 million, $54 million per, and the market value chart here, or value, I should say, calculated value from Spot Track says 4 years, 191. Maybe you meet in the middle with that average annual of 47.8. Maybe it is somewhere right around 50 million. That would make a lot of sense too. So we could pull up the other comps if we wanted to. Of course, Patrick Mahomes, that long deal, a little bit different. You've got our boy Jared Goff here, obviously getting his deal, which was he signed a 4 year, $212 million. So obviously that's right on the money with what Ben Kurt was saying. And then Joe Burrow's a little bit out of date now. His was 5 year, $275 million. So obviously with 219 of that guarantee. But going to be interesting to see how it falls in place. And again, I think they'll get the deal done. I agree with people who say the Packers have the leverage, but I also agree with the people that say, hey, you do not want to have to franchise tag him next year. Like that is not a route you want to take for sure. So got too many good things going on in the locker room right now to screw that up by going cheapo with the most important position, obviously, in the game. Javon Bullard's contract is now done. I'm not sure if you guys have seen this come across the wire. Kind of cool. Javon Bullard signed a 4 year, $6.7 million contract. It just seems like peanuts, man. So that's including $1.6 million signing bonus, 3.5 guaranteed, and an average annual salary of 1.6. In 2024, Bullard will earn a base salary of $795,000 and a signing bonus of $1.6 million, while carrying a cap hit of $1.2 million and dead cap value of $3.5. So when you break it down by year, this year his cap hit will be $1.2 million. In 2025, it'll be $1.5 million. 2026, $1.8 million. 2027, $2.1 million. So pretty cool. When he's set to hit free agency in 2028, he'll be 26 years old. So let's say he does come in and ball out like we think he's going to do. You basically give them a 3 to 4 year extension. Give him a 4-year extension, which is really just a 3, and you don't have to worry about carrying him into his 30s. You can get that second year done. Really like how that sets up for the Packers as far as how Javon Bullard's age lines up with the current contract and his potential future with the Packers. Is going to be exciting to see what he does. What do you guys think about those numbers, man? If you hit on these rookies, my goodness, are you at an advantage? Emilio, you see it in the wide receiver room big time, but what do you think about Javon Bullard's contract here, man?
No, that's it. And I think it was DJ and Bucky were talking. Bucky was saying, we got to look at the Packers eventually. Once you get past the stage and look at how are the teams that are successful at drafting and developing, how are they doing this? Where are they going? What are their techniques? And he was even saying, that we might have to even look at Green Bay just because they've been so good at it. He goes, look at their wide receiver class. Look what they've done, on that defense. So it's really cool to see. I love that, we get it knocked out. Obviously, it's set in stone, really, kind of with the PA. But it's glad to see it done, and dude's ready to play football. Right, every interview he's had so far, well spoken, just ready to play. So I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely. Fred McFarley in the chat says, Bull played in the slot today, I heard, so they are testing his versatility. Love to see it. Tim, I think he's going to have no problem playing in the slot if he needs to play in a pinch. And who knows, man, maybe Oladapo does come out healthy with that toe, and we'll talk about the injury here in a second. Obviously, we got a little bit of updated news on him. But it'd be pretty cool if somehow, some way, Oladapo or Evan Williams could win the opposite safety spot from Xavier McKinney at the same time that Bullard is winning that slot job. And again, maybe it could be something just like our boy in Detroit last year with Brian Branch, where, hey, in the base defense, you play strong safety in the nickel, which we're in the nickel the majority of the time. He can slide to the slot. But just even more value to that rookie contract for sure, Tim.
Yeah. Oh, versatility. That's what we talk about, right? We've got guys in the secondary that are they are kind of specialists. Things that a few things they do a little bit better than other things. But then you've got guys like Javon Bullard, who's clearly versatile. I even think Keyshawn's got some versatility too. So if anything, these are good problems to have if we've got guys that are stepping up from the bottom rungs of the depth chart and making a name for themselves, going into the preseason. It just means more depth for us overall on our defense. And I think you're right, man. Bullard can play the slot. I mean, it's on tape already, obviously not at the NFL level, but it'll be really fun to watch him work, man, whether he's, playing in the deep half or if he's, pressed up on someone in the slot. I'm looking forward to seeing him work.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Another one too here, Coach Lynn in the chat says big nickel for Bullard. Absolutely love it. And then someone said something about our boy Edgerrin Cooper too. But first of all, Jacob, get your take on Bullard's contract here, man. I know this was your guy during draft season, no doubt.
Yeah, man. It's great to see him being utilized in actually the roles that I thought that he would, is right away playing him like a chess piece where, trying to see where he best fits. I really honestly think that Oladapo may have a harder time seeing the field just because, like we always talk about, what's the old saying? It's hard to make the team in the tank or something like that. So
hard to make the club in the tub.
That's the one, the club in the tub, the team in the tank. It seems as if that this team is really moving at a fast pace from the jump. Even looked at like today when Jair is not there, it was Valentine that stepped up. Valentine and Stokes were the 1 and 2. So we've got so much competition, and they've emphasized having so much competition at each position group that even in the case of injury, like when you talk about cornerback, even having Jair out possibly for any time, any sort of time, I don't want that. But in the event that it happens, I feel weirdly confident this year that we're going to have a bunch of guys that are just going to be fighting. I mean, you look at even like we talked about wide receiver, Bo Melton at number 5 could be the best number 5 receiver by far in the league. We haven't even talked about guys like Malik Keith and all that yet. So,
yes. Yeah. And Grant DeBose. Don't forget about Grant DeBose.
Right.
And
They
DeBose.
definitely liked him too, for sure. Coach Lynn in the chat said, looks like we hit on Cooper from what I read from today's OTAs. There's a couple things that's going to happen there. If Cooper does come in and he just bang, he obviously he was an ascending player in college football. He went from kind of in 2022 to just an absolute superstar in 2023. If he carries on that ascension, it's got a lot of fire under Quay too. It's going to get Quay excited about having that guy lining up next to him. So that would be absolutely awesome if they hit on Cooper. No doubt about that. And let's see, there was something else here. I really liked this comment. M. Smitty says we need to stop bragging on the wide receivers. We want to keep Vrabel around for a while. Emilio, that's a real thing, man. Like it's one of the reasons why the Packers took that step back in 2022. Along with, obviously Aaron Rodgers, breaking the thumb on the throwing hand, is the fact that they lost their OC, right? They lost their quarterback coach, if I remember correctly, too. Yeah, and the one that went to Chicago as the OC as well. When you have to rebuild the coaching room like that over and over and over, man, that becomes a real issue, dude.
Yeah, I mean, and that's it. You want that to happen because you want your coaches to be good enough that your players excel and they teach them every little thing they need to know. But at the same time, you're right. You don't want to lose good coaches, good talent. Teaching the game to the players. So I don't know. I'm like you said, man, let's hang them around for a little bit longer, but at some point someone's going to need a title change. Someone needs to get paid, man. Everybody needs to, make their own money. So, I also don't want to hold Vrabel back.
Yeah, definitely. Coach Lynn in the chat here said Oladapo's out of his boot. That's a great start for him off the injury. And of course,
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
and they said it was just the toe, right? He just broke the toe. So, it wasn't
just the tip, though.
Exactly. It wasn't the entire foot. It's just the tip. So Matt Simon tweeted out, by the way, Katan Oladapo is out of a walking boot. 5th-round rookie safety said he broke his toe at the combine and hopes to be ready for camp. So like Coach Lynn was saying, and that's great news. If he is a full go come day one of training camp, that's going to play a huge role for Oladapo being able to compete for that safety spot. And again, all it takes is for Javon Bullard to show, hey, I can outplay Keyshawn Nixon in the slot.
Right.
And those two safeties to outperform. Really what it comes down to is those safeties have to provide more value. Those safeties being Evan Williams and Oladapo have to provide a little more value, a little more consistency at the safety position than Keyshawn Nixon shows in the slot. I'm not saying that's an easy task. Who knows? Keyshawn may come out and just play with his hair on fire. But if they show that kind of, ability, man, this defense, you're talking about having depth. The thought of one of those two safeties being able to start opposite Xavier McKinney while Javon Bullard plays the majority of snaps in the slot, and then, God forbid, something happen. Let's say one of the safeties goes down. Javon Bullard has to kick the safety, and you got to bring Keyshawn Nixon off the bench to play slot. I feel a lot better about that, Tim. Like, that's a pretty good problem to have there, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was thinking because, let's say that does happen. Keyshawn doesn't retain the starting role in the slot. Where else does he go, right? Well, he's going to, be a special teamer and then probably second on the depth chart when it comes to playing in the slot, right? And we can do a lot worse than that. I don't think Keyshawn was terrible in the slot last year, but he wasn't, super spectacular either. And somebody that's serviceable at their position that can go out there and not be a liability and just, stay on task, stay on assignment. I mean, that's a good role player to have. So I think if Bull comes out and just wins that slot role, then, hey, it is what it is. You put your best guys on the field, right? And see where we go from there. Maybe we see a little bit more Keyshawn peppered into the offense. You never know, Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens, though. Camp is going to be I think even more interesting this year than it was last year, given the draft class that we have now and, the changing of the guard on defense. So lot to look forward to.
Yeah, no doubt about it. This is the depth chart according to ourlads.com. Okay, so if you guys want to check this out, again, it's not the grand poobah of depth charts or anything by that stretch. It's just this is kind of how they see it right off the bat. Now, they've got Zion Gilbert as a backup nickelback. I think we would all agree that's probably not the case, right? But as far as the safety position, they've got Xavier McKinney. Now, listen, they got him listed as a strong safety. Again, those safety positions are way more interchangeable than your grandpappy safety positions back in the 90s, right? So That's something that they got to be able to both be able to rotate down, also play post safety in different looks, different scenarios, whether you're going up against a bunch, a trips, a tray, what have you. It depends on what the play call specifically is. So they've got McKinney at strong safety, Javon Bullard at free safety. Behind him, they've got Evan Williams backing up Javon Bullard at free safety, and they got Katan Oladapo backing up Xavier McKinney at strong safety. So definitely that's going to be your 4. Anthony Johnson Jr., at least in the early going, seems like he may be sliding back, although you know how the Packers like to operate too. They'll have him out there with the 1s and 2s before the rooks. It's like they make them earn it, through camp.
Right.
Anthony Johnson Jr. is going to get a legit shot. And I think you're going to get the best version of Anthony Johnson Jr. too. The fact that they just added 3 new draft picks into that room, that dude's playing for his career all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
So.
On the last rewind, you saw him. He was making plays, making tackles. He missed a tackle, but dude has actual NFL game experience, right? So that's got to be worth something.
Yeah, no doubt. So another injury we want to keep an eye on here. Matt Schneidman tweeted this out. Lucas Van Ness, broken thumb, just the tip, is practicing today. His right thumb is heavily wrapped. Jair Alexander is present, but not practicing. Rashawn Gary, Elton Jenkins, and Preston Smith are all here and practicing after not being present for last week's open practice. So the big thing here, Jacob, obviously LVN, he's already out there practicing, got that thing wrapped. That's not going to be an issue at all. That's why Matt made such a light situation of it. But the one that does worry me a little bit is Jair Alexander. Jacob, do you know any details on Jair Alexander's injury or any reason why he wasn't out there today?
No, I don't. But what I do know is that with the Lucas Van Ness, just the tip being broken, that just the tip is opening up a wide gap for Brenton Cox to slide right through. Today he performed. Cox performed amazing. He got a sack, and he possibly had another sack. He had a pressure. The guy was pressuring the holes.
You're an amazing person. You know that, don't you?
That is all accurate.
That is good.
Why you guys are laughing? Everything I just said was legitimate.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
No, it was legitimate. It wouldn't have been as bad if you hadn't grinned the way you grinned right after. Emilio, you caught that too, didn't you? He knew.
Dude, I don't even know how I don't know how we didn't get another strike right there.
Yes. Yeah, that may be strike 2, folks.
Jacob's over here tiptoeing the line.
If Jacob keeps this up, we'll see you on Rumble, okay? That's how this is going to work. Which, by the way, give a shout-out. We had 70 people in Rumble just a second ago. Still got 63 in there. Appreciate y'all showing up strong over there. We're going to continue to go live there every single day, so we appreciate y'all supporting us over there for sure.
See, this is all I'm saying. Packer fan gets it.
Yeah.
It's just simple. A to B. A to B to C.
Thank you for just saying A to B to C and not reading the comment, Jacob.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And Chewy says Brenton's a meat missile. You go.
Thick.
What the hell's going on here? All right, let's move it along. So we hit the OVN injury. Another thing that popped up today, Rob Domofsky tweeted out, running back Josh Jacobs is back doing everything, just took a carry in team after dealing with a hamstring issue that limited him the last couple of weeks. So obviously Josh Jacobs is back to full health. That's somebody I think could really play a huge role in this offense. Obviously, you lose Aaron Jones. I love the idea of Josh Jacobs in the passing game. And then, oh, by the way, when he needs a breather, just throw Marshawn Lloyd out there, man. That's what I'm really excited about. So you guys want to share with the class here? Or no?
Nope.
No, we're good, right? Everybody good? Okay. You like how I'll call them out, Tim, and they get real quiet, don't they? All right, so Josh Jacobs, anything you guys want to add to that? Anything else you may or may not have heard earlier today? Obviously, when you look at the depth chart here, they've got Josh Jacobs as the starter, Marshawn Lloyd as the backup, A.J. Dillon as the 3. Might not be a better third running back on the depth chart in the entire National Football League. And we've seen it the last few weeks, guys, on the rewinds we've been doing. He's really come alive, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
As far as, especially in the passing game, that's what I was trying to get at last year toward the end of the season. Like, man, he really surprised me in the passing game. But
in the passing game and in the playbook at the same time. Dude knows the plays inside and out. He's running with it with Aaron Jones, so he'll be able to help, Marshawn Lloyd. But at the same time, if it's crunch time and we need someone that knows the play no matter what, you put in the tractor.
Yep.
No doubt.
Yeah.
I think Marshawn Lloyd's NFL ready. He's going to be one of those guys that he's going to acclimate really quick to the pro game. Physically, he's there. I mean, I don't know if you guys seen the guy. He's in his NFL body already, and it's just a matter of time that he gets things down. And clearly, he's going to be the number 2. I think really what's interesting with the running back room is how it may affect how many wide receivers we end up keeping on this team, because as we know, Jacobs is a threat in the pass game. Dillon has proven to be a threat in the pass game as well. We'll see how Marshawn Lloyd's going to be utilized, but Emmanuel Wilson kind of chomping on the bit there on the bottom end of the depth chart. There's depth there in the running back room and the receiving room. So it makes me wonder how many wideouts we're going to actually take into the season, considering that a couple of our running backs can get it done, as well as tight ends in the passing game.
Yeah. Now, I love what Coach Lynn said there too, Jacob, that Emmanuel Wilson might be the best number 4 running back in the entire league, man. And the fact that you should be able to pop him on and off the practice squad all year, that's really, really exciting. The only one I think you would have trouble, amongst, other than Marshawn Lloyd and Josh Jacobs, as far as them clearing waivers, would obviously be A.J. Dillon. But I think Emmanuel Wilson would clear waivers every single time that you would put him on the practice squad. We know the running back room, Jake.
Yeah, I mean, I think like Tim said, Marshawn Lloyd just seems like he's ready to go. It doesn't mean much or if anything at all, but a lot of the fantasy guys are buzzing about him, saying it's like one of those late sneaky round steals. I think the A.J. Dillon is definitely not just going to roll over and die and just become the once great Packer legend. I think he has plans of trying to get another 1-year extension, if not more, just at least being, like that John Kuhn type of player where he just is Mr. Reliable. He can block. If you need him to get 3 yards and it's 4th and 3, he'll get you 3. If you need him to get 3 yards and 4th and 4, he'll get you 3. And I think that, you could talk about our positional groups being like the best at almost at a lot of different groups, the safety group, the running back group, the wide receiver group, the tight end group, the linebacker group, that our 2nd and 3rd and 4th stringers are better than most in the NFL. So that's a great problem to have. I think, again, it's a testament to what the front office and what Goody did with the draft and with the free agency. And I'm just excited to watch these battles. I don't think Zion Gilbert's going to be in that position much longer.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast watching the camp battles. Like camp is going to be absolutely awesome. No doubt about that. Let's see what else we got. I like this comment here. Mike Berry in the chat. Appreciate you, buddies. Over on Rumble said, running back will be used sparingly. Everybody gets 12 carries. If you do limit the carries for any individual player like that, man, you're talking about having a healthy running back room, right? And keeping these guys fresh as you get later in the season. That's a huge plus. There's some teams that go in with just one real running back, right? And the rest are just kind of what would qualify on some teams as camp bodies. I think that Goody is kind of taking that Bill Walsh approach, man. He really keyed in on the bottom third of this roster. Like, how can we really bolster the bottom third of this roster while continuing to march out the cheapest wide receiver room in the league? It's just absolutely wild, man. Especially when you look at what Justin Jefferson just got paid. We kind of hit on it yesterday. The fact that the Packers wide receiver room is so cheap is just, man, how huge is that? And here's the thing, like, you can let Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson test free agency. You still feel pretty good. And I'm talking about this in 2 years, by the way. And you still feel good about, our boy Jaden Reed and Dontavian Wicks. I'm telling you, I think Dontavian Wicks there's going to be people this year go, who the hell is this Wicks kid? I think it's going to sneak up on a lot of non-Packer fans.
Late to the party.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It'll be the national media going, whoa, But,
right. We're in a lot better shape than the Cowboys, though, right? Not having to sign Dak and CD Lamb right now.
And Michael Parsons coming up too.
That is so big. And because, after you spend 30, 40, 30, on 3 people, you're already at you're pushing 120, 150, 150 million on the salary cap. But how else are you going to field the team, right? So,
right.
I'm happy that they have it staggered like this. That's the only way to do it. It's the only way you're going to be able to get out of here without breaking the bank and getting the can way down the road. So I'm excited. Once we get Jordan Love's number, man, we're going to be in good shape.
And we look at Our Lads' depth chart projection here. They've got Rasheed Walker at right tackle. I'm not sure what they're smoking there. They got Jordan Morgan playing left tackle, Rasheed Walker playing right tackle. Today there was some offensive line shuffling going on. Wes Hockowitz tweeted out, now at right tackle with Morgan at right guard. Packers getting the rotations in today. And he was referring to Andre Dillard, the guy who was signed 2 days after Zach Tom popped his pec in the weight room there at 1265. So Andre Dillard getting work at left tackle today after Walker opened there. So you've seen Rasheed Walker open up at left tackle. Then they kicked Andre Dillard over there. And then you had Jordan Morgan playing right tackle and also playing right guard. So to the best of my knowledge, I think there's another tweet here too. Let's see. Rob Demoski said, with Elton Jenkins back after missing a day last week, Jordan Morgan is playing right tackle instead of filling in at left guard. So he has now played left guard or left tackle, left guard, right tackle. I think he even played a touch of right guard. I could be wrong, but they're really going to give Jordan Morgan a shot to win pretty much any spot on the offensive line that Elton Jenkins decides he doesn't want to play at, especially with Zach Tom out of the lineup currently. How do you guys feel about this offensive line?
I mean, I think it's kind of the sign of the times, right? You know, like everyone's going to kind of play everywhere right now. I think they're just kind of feeling out the talent that they've drafted and, you know, guys that are in the building and, you know, plug and play. Plus we do have a little bit of those surprise injuries that popped up and, you know, guys aren't going to get their reps. But I mean, it's like, I don't know, like T-ball, right? You know, you're coaching the youth T-ball league and you got 20 kids show up and they all want to play shortstop, but they can't all play shortstop. So
right.
Throw them all out. You guys play here, see who does what well. And, you know, you'll narrow it down by process of elimination. I think they're really just, you know, with this whole line, it's, you know, and anything's fair game right now in June, you know,
right.
As we get closer to, you know, end of July going into August, we'll get a better understanding of who's really going to be where, but totally makes sense to me why, you know, the depth chart's kind of out of whack and, you know, we're seeing guys playing in spots that we're not used to. I mean, I think it's normal for the time of year.
Yeah. Andres in the chat said, what's going on with Zach Tom? Is he injured? Yes. So we found out that it was back in April. Both he and Tucker Kraft, while bench pressing in the facility, thank God, tore their pecs. So it's kind of odd. You get a new strength and conditioning, you know, system in here, a new staff, and 2 players. I mean, we haven't had a torn pec, and I couldn't tell you how long.
They're on that Coach LaFleur workout plan. He tore his pec too.
Yeah, they all 3 tore it. It's just absolutely wild. Now, they are projected to be ready for day 1 of training camp, but Emilio, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm a pec, what do you call it, a pec guru, okay? You may be, I don't know.
Expert.
Yeah.
Are you looking at it like you're upset that it tore, or like you're happy that they were pushing them? Because maybe you know the previous strength and conditioning wasn't, you know, trying to get them to reach it, and it was just a freak thing. Do you think it's something along that?
I was thinking of this today. It's funny you mentioned that because I was out there working today in the heat, just slaving. I mean, I was just killing it, just crushing it.
Crushing it, I'm sure.
Totally crushing it. And I remember thinking, you know, the fact that they both tore those pecs with the new and keep in mind the new strength and conditioning coach came over from San Francisco. If you watch San Francisco play in the trenches, they're physical.
Right.
I mean, they are physical. And it kind of made me wonder, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Emilio, like maybe we weren't as focused on that aspect of strength. You know, something happened because that's not just a coincidence. It's not. It really isn't. So. But yeah, that's
better to just tweak something in the gym rather than on the field, right? I mean, you know, get this kind of stuff out of the way early and often, and hopefully you're ready to go grind out a season.
Yeah, I mean, with the pec though, when you tear it the way that they did, they say when you pop those things, that's not just a, you know, it's a pretty serious issue. I've heard other offensive linemen talk about 3 to 6 months, and the fact that they said they would be ready for day 1 of training camp really made me feel a lot better about it. It all depends on the severity, obviously, but I know what you're saying, Tim. It's like, thank God it happened now and not day 1 of training camp. That would have sucked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or week 2 or 3 of the season, you know, and then you're missing a huge chunk. So,
but I think that's big, man. Like, you got to push these guys, right? They are literally probably the top athletes one of the top athletes group in the country. So these dudes need to, be pushed to the limits. Yeah, it happened, but I'm not mad about it. It sucks that it happened, but I think that, it's going to help the team overall moving forward if we're going to, try to push them, get their strength up and all that.
Yeah. Ron Sample says benching to failure isn't exactly a new thing. Nobody here said anything about benching to failure. The thing that caught me as odd was it sounded like both of them tore it on the last rep. And again, benching to failure, you're right. That's a common thing in any kind of, weightlifting program. But what it tells me is they probably pushed them just a little too hard. So I think it is a negative thing. But again, today I was thinking, hey, San Francisco's got some dogs in the trenches. Maybe they're pushing these guys to the absolute max, just in a way that they never have in Green Bay, anyway.
Right. But I mean,
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Me neither.
What happens on that last rep? Everyone's in the weight room screaming around you. Like dig it out, get it, and
I didn't go to doctor school, but Afam is right. A little nicotine will heal Kraft right up.
I imagine Kraft got off the bench press. The pec is hanging off the bone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he just breaks open a lung dart and rubs it on the pec. You know what I mean? Just kind of, we're good to go.
While curling a bush latte in the other hand.
No, he had one of those helmets on that had 2 bush lattes coming down. That's exactly what that was. So I agree. Magic says we have to be more physical. That's, some people hear, oh, there's a strength and conditioning coach change. And you kind of roll your eyes like, okay, what's the big deal? Who's the OC? That's what I want to know. But if you can become a more physical team, that's one thing you cannot deny about the San Francisco 49ers. They are very, very physical in the trenches. There's no doubt about that. So let's see here what Chewy said. Hopefully he's not being sarcastic. He says, quote, "You make micro tears in your muscles when you work them," says UNC Health Wellness Services Manager and certified personal trainer Kathy de Blasio. That's exactly what you're doing. You're basically ripping the muscle apart and then allowing itself to heal, right? I mean, that's the whole point of it, so it can grow back stronger. The goal isn't to tear it off the bone, though. So
yeah,
if you guys have
off the bone is not a micro tear,
and hopefully it's not off the bone, right? Only Jacob can make fall off the bone ribs. All right, we don't want that here. We want that to just nice little tear, and we can make that work.
Yeah, and again, that's the thing. Like I've seen people tear a bicep before. You guys ever experienced that?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
It's the most disgusting thing in the world.
Yeah.
Like you literally see the muscle looks like it shrinks, and it's because it tears off the bone and just tucks under the skin. It's just like, what is that?
I still hear the pop from tearing the ACL.
Stop it.
Yeah,
stop it.
Jacob, does that stuff creep you out a little bit, man?
Yeah, I hyperextended my knee and tore my LCL, and it was the worst. I can't watch that stuff. And for whatever reason, my X feed is like only showing me the most horrible, because I'm sure that I look at it and then right before I know it's going to compound fracture, I look away, but I'm
same. And here's what's crazy. I can watch some of the goriest stuff, right? But I cannot stand to see a bone snap, right?
Yeah.
I'm like you, Jacob. I have to look away. Mandy is like, oh, let me see that again. Like,
rewind that. Bring it back, Clayton. Bring it back.
Go 25%.
Hold on, you can actually hear the.
It's man.
So we all looked away on that Joe Theismann play, huh? And Mandy's seen it 1,000 times.
Oh yeah, she's got it on. Look, it's a screensaver GIF. You know what I mean? Eric in the chat says Emilio tore his ACL kayak, and is that true, Emilio? How'd you tear that ACL?
I tore it playing lacrosse.
More like
ACL and MCL. Man, now all I heard was a pop. I dropped to the ground, and then that thing was just wiggly the rest of the night. So I just
my knee.
What I said. I got home, kicked the feet up on the couch, and called it a night. Man, grabbed a couple bush lattes, like Tim was saying, and we were good.
Yep. Yeah, I'm with Mr. Ron Sample. He says I can't watch Theismann's break. The worst, or one of the big things with that too. They said that he rolled over and looked at LT and said. He looked him right in the eye and said, "You guys broke my leg." That's what he said.
What's crazy is knowing the type of dude Lawrence Taylor was on the field, and to see his reaction when he saw what he did, and the way he reacted on that play, you just knew it was serious. because like that dude's all fire and brimstone all the time. And I mean, he was kind of crying like a little girl there for a little bit, knowing what he did to poor Joe Theismann there. That was a trip, man. Yeah, cringeworthy for sure.
Well, I didn't plan on us spending 20 minutes talking about just random injuries, but here we are, man. It is it's an important part of the game. It's why it's so important that the bottom third is bolstered on that roster, because it's going to happen. It is going to happen. That's the reason really with what we started with here with Jordan Love's contract. It's why he's trying to get that guaranteed money, man, because you just never know. And anyone who says, "Oh, just shut up, play the game," think back to Nick Collins. Nick Collins held out for a contract. And there were some fans, I remember on the message boards way back in the day, here's Papal Bailey talking about it. But I remember fans on the message boards being like, it's so selfish. He's got a contract. He needs to honor it, blah, blah, blah. He held out, got a new contract, then broke his damn neck. And his career was over. If he hadn't got that new contract, his family's life is totally different. Because keep in mind, he came out of Bethune-Cookman College, and Nick Collins was a second-round pick. And at the time, that wasn't a whole lot of money at all. Right. So, that's why I don't want to say I always tend to side with the players, but I just understand where they're coming from. And I don't want to be a hypocrite. I put myself in that player's shoes. I'll be doing the same thing. Hey, look, you gotta do what's right, for the long term. And I think Jordan is just handling it perfect. I will be in here. I expect y'all to do the right thing.
Right.
I love that. So.
I think he's being smart, and he's let us. I think his agent's probably doing a lot of the mudslinging, a lot of the dirt. He's just sitting there smiling, coming to work. Like, I'm sure the agent's just pounding that front office with text messages and threats and all these kinds of things. And Jordan, even if he doesn't know about it, but it'd be even better if he does. And he just walks in the morning like, "Hey guys, how you doing? Ready to hit them weights? Let's do some reps." And they're just like, "God."
Yeah.
Coach Lynn. Go ahead. I'm sorry, man.
I was just saying, Jordan's just like, show respect, give respect, get respect. That's all he's asking for out of the Packers, right? But I like Coach Point here. Hit it.
Definitely. Coach Lynn says that Louisville basketball player that broke his leg in the Final Four was the worst one I've ever seen. Same. I don't know if you guys seen it, but I think it was the shin bone was snapped, and it came through the skin. You can see the bone.
Stop it.
Bro,
Wasn't it on an elevated court too? And he like fell back into the.
I just know the bone was sticking out, and you've seen the picture everywhere. And then all of a sudden, of course, Twitter took over, and somebody had photoshopped that bone sticking out, and they had put the Lion King where he's holding the cover up. It made me feel better about the situation. I got a little giggle, but you can still see the bone. It was like, man, that's
Hudson High School 2000.
Once again, man, looking at it going, oh, that's awesome. No, it's not. Ahead,
Hudson High School 2004, Michael Peruka, a good man, good buddy of mine. He was returning kicks, really good, spark plug type of running back, but he was returning kicks, and he got taken out right around the shin area and compound fracture, bones sticking out. And it was, I was worried about him, but I was like, somebody grab me, I'm going to pass out. Like, it was, ambulance, whole night. It was horrible. Horrible.
No doubt. Speaking of broken bones, how about this right here?
Oh, man.
There you go. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to give away an autographed Brett Favre picture that was donated by Mr. Larry himself. Appreciate the donation, pal. Also want to give a shout-out to Trevor. Trevor reached out and said, hey, man, I got an autographed A.J. Dillon jersey I'd like to donate to the show for y'all to give away. I told him to keep it, although I'm not going to, rob his blessing, if you will. If he wants to use it, great, but just our listeners are awesome, man. Everybody's just wanting to try to help out and do what they can to help the show. And I love the fact that everybody's willing to give back to one another. Is really, really cool. So we got everybody's name that's in the Patreon group as of midnight last night. That's a member of one of the 3 tiers. They're going to be giving away an autographed Brett Favre picture. You guys ready to spin this wheel?
How about these hands?
All right, here we go. We're going to spin it. And whoever it lands on wins the autograph frame picture of Brett Favre. Here we go.
Dude, I can't wait. I might get this one.
You ain't getting it. Shut up. Look, it almost did.
Oh!
All right, Mr. Damon. Is it Damon or Damon? How are y'all saying that?
I would say Damon.
Damon? Tim?
Damon. Oh,
Damon,
fighter of the night, man.
What the hell? All right. So Damon Stewart wins the autographed Brett Favre picture. Appreciate you supporting us in Patreon. Damon, let me write this down real quick so I ain't got to go back and watch it. I can't stand watching you guys twice. It's
I know it.
but
Jacob,
no,
I got the reference, by the way.
I was
with you.
hoping.
It's always
Thanks.
sunny, for sure. For sure.
All right. So if you guys are interested in joining the Patreon group, there's a link in the video description on all platforms here, or you can just go to patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. Just a way for us to give back to those who are supporting us and the channel. So if to the best of my knowledge, we made it all the way through a YouTube episode here without being randomly flagged with a copyright. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. Maybe Jacob's pinky ring has a copyright infringement on it or something. I don't know, but Eric still says it's rigged. Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna give him some.
him Smitty rigged. Stop the steal. Right, there you go. Anything else you guys want to hit on? We're at the 45-minute mark. We can wrap it up here. Or we can hit on something else if y'all got anything that was on the forefront of your mind.
I mean, I was just kind of watching the interviews earlier. Bo had a really good one. Like we said, we're maybe pull something from that. But and Jordan Love too, the way he's carrying himself, he's excited. It seems like every time the reporters get to him, they ask him about a different receiver, that stepped up and gotten better. It was Bo this time. It was Jaden Reed last time. Next time it'll be Wicks. And then it'll be Christian. He mentioned Romeo working out together. They've built a family in there that's different. So it's something that we haven't really had recently. So I'm kind of excited to see how that plays out on the field because they're legit like fighting for each other.
Definitely was the theme of the locker room as far as Jordan Love's comments today. He was just talking about it's like a family. He talked about how much respect he has for Matt LaFleur. Sometimes you get a little bit of fracture between your general and your main officers, right? Like if you get the quarterback who's just got a slight fracture between him and the head coach, or a slight fracture between the head coach and the GM, it may not look like much on the surface, but that trickles down, and people see that. And it's another reason why I feel like they need to pay Jordan Love, because you want to send that message throughout the locker room that, hey, look, we're going to reward people who deserve to be rewarded. But Tim, you got anything, Bob?
No, just laughing at Uncle Eric Sutherland in the chat once again.
Uncle Eric.
I do like what Chewy said. He said, Eric, my name's right next to yours, so I ain't winning anything. Well,
yeah, Chewy wants a reset up on that wheel there. He doesn't want to be next to Eric moving forward.
I don't blame him, man. You kidding me? Coach Lynn says Jaden Reed looks jacked. Also saw a pic of him today. Dontavian Wicks too, man. When we seen him in those workout videos there in the offseason when they were in Florida, that dude's shoulders are massive. And again, Tim, we seen in this last play, man, or this last game that we broke down, him taking that hit in the back, breaking 2 tackles and rumbling for another 30 yards to pretty much set up the go-ahead score was just phenomenal, man. That dude, he's going to be that guy you want working the middle of the field, man.
Yeah, at a glance, you don't peg him as like a super tough, strong dude, but he is. He's totally that guy. And it's going to be fun. Like, honestly, man, I'm looking forward to watching the bottom rungs of that receiver core at camp. The Malik Heath, Grant DeBose, Bo Melton, Samari Toure, guys that are just really fighting for more reps. I hope Matt keeps 8 or 9 receivers this year, but we'll see what happens. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
That actually brings me. I was trying to extend this pod just a little bit longer, and I think that's the perfect segue, Tim. If you had to right now, this is a question for the panel. If you had to choose between extending Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, or passing on the 2 of them in hopes of that maybe signing a contract with like Torre, obviously Melton, DeBose, Heath, and then waiting for the next crop with Jaden Reed and Dontavian Wicks, what do you do? And does it depend on how much money that if they're getting some crazy amount of money for Watson? I don't think Watson or Dobbs has earned anything near the Justin Jefferson conversation,
Sure.
But let's say it's something like 20 million per or something like that. Just,
That's a good
what
question.
would you do?
Yeah. 20 million. So you're basically asking, if you had to choose, would you extend Christian Watson or Romeo Dobbs at 20 million per year? Right.
Or wait, or let them both just test the market, or like what? Right. Just basically, how would you handle it if it had to be done today?
Yeah, if it had to be done today, I'd probably pass, man. That's just me. I like what we've gotten Reed and Wicks. Now, here's the deal with having a little bit of that leverage and kind of look. And let's say, and I'm not saying they see it this way, but let's say that Goody sees it like I see it there. He goes to them and you offer much less. You offer much less, and you use that as a negotiating tool, right? And look, if they say no and they want to test free agency, then okay, we got our next two guys, and we'll spend that cap in the trenches, that type of thing. Now, if you make me choose between those two receivers, I think I'm going to go with Romeo Dobbs. I love the speed, I do, but you can scheme guys open. Right, you don't have to have that absolute burner. It's nice if it's on the field, but again, with Christian Watson, and it's nothing against him. It's just a stint of bad luck. I think that he can't stay on the field with the hamstring and everything. Hopefully, that's behind us. But if I had to choose between the two, I would go Romeo Dobbs. But to answer your question, Jacob, I don't feel comfortable giving either of those two receivers $20 million per with Wicks and Reed behind them. If we didn't have Wicks and Reed behind them, oh yeah, I'd be willing to give either of them $20 million. So go ahead. Whoever wants to answer it next. I think it's a great question, Jacob.
I'm not comfortable making a decision on Watson until after this season. I mean,
it's a great point.
You hit it right on the head. Like we don't know because, if he balls out this year and stays healthy and, really plays up to that potential that, that ceiling that is non-existent for him when he's healthy. If we see 16, 17, 18 games out of him like that, we might be having a different conversation. But right now, I agree with you, Clayton. I'd probably lean towards Rome, giving Rome the money. But, man, we're so deep in this receiver room. It's tough, man. It really is right now. But with Watson, for sure, I'd feel more comfortable. Ask me this question after this season,
Because maybe the University of Wisconsin got it right? Maybe they finally fixed it and they got that squared away. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, in my opinion, I think Watson would garner that big time money. Like he almost is in that area of like Devontae Smith or Calvin Ridley, that type of receiver. It's like he could be so good. He's kind of shown us he can be good. He's, but like the floor or the ceiling is still so unmatched and that kind of stuff. Whereas Dobbs is more of that, like he reminds me of a more talented and a more athletically gifted Lazard, where it was like you just kind of knew you could throw to him on third down, and he was more of like that possession and just ran a good route and would come down with the ball and maybe not going to get a lot of yak, but was just going to make sure that he got the catch kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah, I mean, Larry Fitzgerald made a living on being consistent. Yeah, he had a different, different build, but that's where I would love to have Christian, speed, athlete, freak, tall, lengthy, all that. But I think it also would kind of come down to the relationship that Jordan Love has with Romeo. Like that dude, they spend 2/3 of the year together, easy, I would say. And having that, obviously it's not Rodgers and all that. And it's not like Jordan's, putting his foot down saying he wants him. But I think that him mentioning, hey, if Romeo's that, I can think of something. I don't even need to say it. I just look at him sort of thing. That might be the move, right? Moving forward, if that's where we got to, that might be the cluster buster, right, Clayton? That might be the decision. But the excitement is that we have all that. The problem is that, we probably will end up losing one or two of them down the road.
Yeah.
Out of that group.
Fred McFarley says, Coach talks about elite traits. Watson has one. Dobbs does not, in my opinion. When you talk about elite traits, I don't see anything with Dobbs on the surface that says, whoa, that's elite. But you cannot deny the fact that dude in a jump ball scenario, in a back shoulder throw, in a game on the line, he's consistently been the one to make the play, and that cannot go unnoticed. So when you talk about physical trait like Watson's speed, obviously, and again his size as well, I completely understand what you're saying there. But I do like this too. Prince says, yep, if Watson hit free agency, he will get the better of the two. I think that's probably accurate, don't you guys?
Yep.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Jacob? Do you have something, man?
No, I think that it's fair to say that Dobbs has like late hands and late eyes. Those would be maybe his best attributes, and like a sneaky bit of athleticism that you don't expect for him. In that last split second, he all of a sudden just grabs it and is very aggressive when he does that. So
yeah,
this could be the year though that Romeo takes that step too. Though like he's as far as route running, man, he's up there. Like he's 1 or 2 clicks from us talking about elite route running ability, and a lot of those those highlights that we see are him just simply winning on the route. I mean,
yep.
And it's what's going to separate him from a lot of the other comparable talent in the league. So I think if Rome takes a step this year, we could that's an elite. Wouldn't you say that's an elite attribute, route running? Like if you can run crispy routes every single time, your quarterback could close his eyes and just time it and know you're going to be there. Like it's huge.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's just we kind of throw not that you do this, Tim. I think all of us in general, sometimes we throw elite and terms like elite and generational around very loosely. And when I hear elite, I think top 3 in the league.
Right.
Dobbs is a great route runner. I don't think he's top 3 in the league amongst wide receivers, in route running, but he is more than good enough, and that's what I was getting at with the Justin Jefferson tweet yesterday. And it really blew up. Holy cow. I was just simply saying, like, if you gave me an option to say, would you rather have Justin Jefferson at $35 million per or 2 very good wide receivers at $16.5 million per? I'm taking the 2 very good wide receivers because you're 1 injury away from that $35 million being tied up on the pine on the bench. I would much rather have a team full of very good players than a team with 2 or 3 elite players, if you will. So that's kind of how I see that from a team building standpoint. Now, that doesn't sell extra tickets. That doesn't sell extra jerseys. We've seen it, and again, if you convince me that Christian Watson's turning into Randy Moss, throw the book at him. That's someone who tilts the field, right? Someone like that, T.O. in his prime, someone like that. But yeah, great topic, Jacob. You need to come up with more of those, man. This was good. It's good conversation. So, anybody else got anything before we go here, man?
This receiving it's tough.
I'm glad I ain't the one that's got to do it, man.
That's true.
I'll tell you right now. I take the trash. You see my driveway, Emilio. I take the trash cans down, bro. I'm hunkered over when I get back. You know what I'm saying? I'm hurting, Linda. I'm hurting bad.
I'm hurting, Linda.
There's even a culvert. I mean, dude's got to make sure he doesn't hit into the creek. I mean, I was worried a couple times, man. That's sketchy.
The creek can be deadly, especially after a couple daddy sodas, man. You end up down there in the water
and
with
man,
the
he's like, you forgot to take it out. It's 3 a.m. Trash truck's coming at 7. Clayton's like, I gotta go.
She did it last night, man. I came down the stairs, set the pot up for tonight. I'm like, oh my God, that bed. I can't wait to get in that bed. I cut the corner and she went, hey, Clayton. And I look up the steps, where our bedroom is.
Yeah.
And her and both German shepherds with their heads between the pickets, right? And she went, you got to take the trash down. I was like, mother. So here I am, waking the neighbors up at 11:15 at night. Dragging the cans down.
Yep.
So there you go. All right. If nobody else got anything else, we'll wrap it up right here with our awkward ending with no outro. Are we prepared? Is everyone ready to go here?
For those of you listening on the pod,
thank you for making us a part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world. And go, Pack, go.